It's time for the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth, financial literacy educator and speaker, entrepreneur, and chairman of the board of A Bank Information. Take charge of your financial future with Your Personal Bank. Now here's Ference Toth.
Welcome to the Your Personal Bank Show. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. And again, if you're a regular listener, you know this, but if not, I do 2 shows a week. My first one, I usually focus on the Your Personal Bank concept, how to maximize cash growth, access funds through a bank line of credit, get positive arbitrage on the money. And the last show, I'm going to really encourage, if you missed it, if you have an existing policy, I talked about, if you have a policy, whether you just set it up or you set it up decades ago, and it has a cash value, it doesn't matter what type it is, whole life, IUL, UL, whatever, I talked about how to maximize the cash growth efficiency, how to access funds from it, and get positive arbitrage. So if you missed it, go to yourpersonalbank.com, and you can listen to any of the previously recorded shows, but it's all about existing folks who have a policy existing, how to maximize it, how to get access to funds, what to do. That's a topic that very few financial folks talk about. Because, we always want to talk about setting up new accounts, new policies, right? That's where the commissions and income, right, is. Oftentimes doing that type of service work, as many people call it, there may or may not be anything involved in it. But, what I found is by helping people improve their financial situation, if we can salvage an existing policy, enhance its efficiency, and make it work better. No, I'm not making a commission on a new product or whatever. But oftentimes that person is appreciative of what we've done because, the improvement is usually, by the way, folks, 20, 30% more cash is common each and every single year for the rest of your life. It's significant, folks. And I've seen 50% increases, okay? My point is, by putting that person and you in a better financial position, most people appreciate that. And they either want to then do more or do something else or recommend me to somebody else. So it becomes a win-win for everybody. So I end up doing more business. I do a lot of business that way just by helping somebody out, help improve their situation. And again, it's not me telling you this. We'll run numbers from the existing companies. So it's from their actuarial departments, which is the most accurate numbers you can get, and let the numbers talk, right? So again, if you missed it, go to yourpersonalbank.com, check it out. If you have a policy or want a no cost, no obligation comparison and show you how to maximize it and maximize efficiency, grow cash faster, and be able to access the funds and get positive arbitrage, go to yourpersonalbank.com. Check out the previous show on existing policies, what to do. Today, I want to really talk more about, let's just put it this way. There is some really cool stuff coming up, particularly into next year, 2022. We're going to be doing with this show. That's going to be geared towards, I talk a lot about our freedoms, protecting our freedoms. A lot of people are surprised. I wasn't a big political guy. I didn't talk a lot or focus a lot on politics 2 years ago. What changed? The COVID shutdowns. When our governments, federal, local, state governments, started shutting down businesses and such due to COVID. And that riled me up. To me, that was an infringement on our freedoms. Now, I agree. I understand there's people who argue about that, but that's what got me fired up, okay? Because I never thought I would see a situation like that in our country. I still believe in the Constitution, our founding fathers, the representative republic, all the things that, we learned growing up in Schoolhouse Rock, if you remember that, and all those kinds of things. I mean, I believed in all that. And what that showed me, at least, and many people, that our bureaucracy, and a lot of it's we have a federal bureaucracy that's just far too big, far too powerful, far too bloated, and it's only gotten worse. And it's just, mask mandates and all these other things is just thing after thing is compounded. Vaccine mandates. I never thought in a million years that I would see a situation in our country, at least, where our government or anyone involved with our government would take the position that they would mandate, require, force people to put a needle in their arm that didn't want it or didn't need it or whatever. Folks, it doesn't matter if they need it or not. That's not the point. The issue of should they take the vaccine or not is not the point. That's an individual decision for each person. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. That's the decision that you need to make. And that's an individual decision, each individual, that we have the freedom, individual rights, or we should have, to make. But when our federal government, or any government for that matter, forces people to stick needles in their arms, I can't go there. That is, in my mind, something you would see in communist China or Russia, Cuba, North Korea, dictatorships like that. Yeah, I expect it. I'm not surprised by it in those scenarios. But when you have a White House who wants, and thankfully this was shot down, but they wanted to give military members a dishonorable discharge if they refuse to take the vaccine. Are you freaking kidding me? What about, and the worst part about all this is we've completely lost, some people have completely lost all common sense. Any person, I'm not a doctor or anything, but this is common knowledge, folks. Any person knows, any adult probably, knows that, viruses are not new. Gosh, the cold and flu season is every year, right? So we as people have dealt with viruses, and we deal with them each and every year. We have a cold and flu season. Those are viruses, okay? And we all know if you catch the flu or catch a cold, and then you've had it, you're immune to it. You have antibodies. Your body builds, and every doctor will tell you that. We all know that. It's common knowledge. It's common sense. And now we have immunity to that, at least that strain of the cold or the flu or that virus, right? Because that's how our bodies work. That's how our immune system works. That's if you're, obviously, if you're a healthy person. If you have health issues, autoimmune deficiencies, things like that, of course, that's different. And that's where vaccines and other things like that are in place for those situations, those high-risk people, where they have other medical situations. Okay? In fact, I've had doctors say to me flat out, this is not me talking, these are the doctors, look, while I'm young and healthy, our immune systems are strong until about age 65, typically for the average American, average adult, and human being, I should say, not American, just a human being. And then after 65, then yes, our immune systems start to weaken naturally. He said, look, I don't want to take a vaccine for viruses like colds and flus or COVID or any other vaccine for that matter, because there's no difference. They're vaccines, right? I want my body to be exposed to them, build an immunity to them, build the antibodies to them. And studies have shown antibodies are up to 16 times more efficient than any vaccine ever created. That I want to be exposed to that and build those immunities, because if that comes back around again, that strain again down the road when I'm older, when my immune system is not as strong, it'll still have that ability to fight it off. See, when you're young and healthy, you don't want to have, you want your body, your natural immune system to be robust. And what's the best way to do that? We all know. This is common sense, folks. Eat right, exercise, get plenty of rest. Right? It's common sense. That's why, shutting down the gyms, that was idiotic. The biggest idiocy I saw was shutting down parks, outdoor playgrounds, and places like that. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, exercise, getting some sun, that's the way to fight off a virus. Whether it's COVID or the flu or a cold or anything else for that matter. Any other. Eat right. Stay healthy, get some exercise, get some rest. Build your immune system. Take some vitamins. Take some zinc. Those vitamin C, those things have been known long-term to help. Any naturopath doctor will tell you that, and just about any MD will tell you that. One of the biggest crimes, let's face it, has been, why didn't our medical profession come out and say, look, there's no question, the studies have proven this, that COVID by far affected folks with medical issues, right? And many of those folks, frankly, one of the biggest medical issues, folks, overweight, out of shape, unhealthy. Again, what's the best way to fight any illness? Any illness, folks. Let's use a little common sense. Let's stop being political. Let's stop being ridiculous. Let's stop. I tell people, stop living in fear. Think, please. Use a little common sense. Calm down. How do you fight off an illness? I don't care if you have cancer or the flu. Eat right. Exercise. Get plenty of rest. Build your immune system. Right? That's what we do as human beings, okay? So obviously the reasons that things have happened is political. People saw benefit from it. They gained control. We have to see through that. And my point is, I was talking to a gentleman. I guess I got off on track there, and I know what I just all said was not politically correct. I don't care. It's common sense, folks. And unfortunately, common sense is not very common these days. Well, it's never been very common, but it seems like the amount of common sense has been dramatically reduced because people have agendas, and that's sad that some people have taken advantage of that and tried to divide us as a country. I hope we realize, look, you don't have to agree with everything I do. You know where I stand. If you've been listening to the show for any period of time, you know I'm a fiscal conservative, and I'm pretty independent, very independent. Whether you agree with that or not important. But we have a lot more in common than we have in differences. I talk to people all over the country. I had the opportunity to travel many parts of the world and talk to people and get to know them. I mean, I've got European heritage. I got family that still lives there. We're a lot more. We want the same things, folks. You know what we really want? We just want to be left alone, most of us. We just want to live our lives in peace. We want to raise our families. We want to build our career or our business or whatever and live our lives and enjoy it. And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's what we all want. So, why don't these people, these leaders, these people that want to control us, you know what? We should reject that. And thankfully a lot of people are. And I'm going to talk about that more in the next segments and some things that are coming up. This show, I'm going to encourage you to stay tuned. We're going to be a part of in raising awareness of this and what can we do to protect our freedoms as individuals. So stay tuned. Don't miss it.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Your Personal Bank Show. Yeah, we're talking today about common sense. I'll finish with this thought. If you missed the first segment, you missed it, okay? Go to yourpersonalbank.com. You can listen to it anytime. But you listen to any of the previously recorded shows, by the way. Here's the thing. What did our doctors used to always say? Every time you saw the doc, what would he say? For most of us, right? Okay, you need to eat right, exercise more, right? And if you smoke, stop smoking, right? We can go back to those days, right? Because isn't that how you stay healthy? Vaccines aren't the answer, folks. The answer is eat right, exercise, get plenty of rest, build your immune system, maybe take some supplements, okay? That's the best way. Now, again, if you're high risk, I get it. That's fine. You're older, you have medical issues. Yes, you need these extra things to help you in your system. But stop telling me what to do. This is still a free country, and here's the cool part. As long as it's still a free country and we still have the options, again, when we have our government coming down saying we have forcing people to stick needles in their arms that don't want to or don't need to, that's ridiculous. That's beyond ridiculous. That's wildly unconstitutional. That's wildly against our freedoms. Our government has no business in being in that role at all, ever, and should be roundly rejected. And thankfully, is by a lot of people. Hopefully, the majority. I believe that to be true. We're going to find out next year in the midterms, aren't we? Because anyone that supported a mask or vaccine mandates or shutting down businesses or anything that, absolutely should be rejected. What do we do? And so I think a lot of people, here's what I'm finding. A lot of people are in absolute agreement. I don't care where they live, what their background is. What I'm finding, that's the other thing I was going to say, is this cuts across socioeconomic. It doesn't matter, rich, poor, in between. Ethnic I talk to folks from all ethnic backgrounds. Location, live all different parts of the country. They can live in downtown LA. They can live out in the country in Wyoming. It doesn't matter. Okay? It cuts across all those things. What it is freedom-loving Americans are spread out all over this country. And there are, yes, a percentage, I believe a minority, who want to be taken care of. They want someone to take care of them. Those are the folks that prefer socialism, okay? Those are the folks that prefer, they want the government to take care of them because they don't, and it's about character. It's about what you want in life. Do you want a land of opportunity or you want a life of dependency? Okay? I think the vast majority want opportunity. They want to make their own way. They don't want somebody taking care of them. I know our leaders many of our leaders want that, so they can gain more power, more money, all that, and more control. We need to roundly reject that. And many people are. But what I'm finding is a lot of people are like, okay, it's kind of like I've said this before, it's kind of funny, but it makes a point. They're all fired up. They're like a mosquito in a nudist colony. They know what they're there for, but they don't know where to start. That might get some people's attention. Or like a rabid dog. He's like, where do I start? What do I do? So right now, civil disobedience is important if you're in that position where somebody's forcing something on you. Look, I know how badly most people don't want a needle in their arm. I sell life insurance, for God's sake. I have for decades. Thankfully, most of the companies don't require that anymore, by the way. It's only required maybe 10% of the time, by the way. So that's awesome. So we can build cash value and all that stuff, set somebody with a policy, give them death benefit, grow their money tax-free, and get positive arbitrage and all that. We don't even need an exam. A lot of people don't do it because they don't want the needle. And now our government's coming down and saying you got to put the needle in your arm, whether you want to or not. At least if you work for a company with over 100 employees, why that limitation? Why do they pick 100 employees? Why not 50? Why not 25? Why not 5? Who knows? I think they just picked a random number because they felt like maybe they can get by with it. And who's to say to change that to a different number? Or self-employed people or whatever. Who's to stop them from doing that? But some civil disobedience needs to happen and is happening. It needs to be more common. We need to, and also we need to talk to our friends, our family, our companions, our coworkers, whatever, our social network. Don't be afraid to speak up for what you believe in. Okay, I know some people, it's going to require them to lose their jobs. I get that. There's a risk. I get that. I'm in financial sales, right? There's going to be some people that listen to me that don't agree with me. I understand that. I also understand there's going to be people that, because they don't agree with me, they may choose not to work with me, and they may choose not to do business with me, which means I lose income. I understand that. But folks, it's worth it. Do you want to live in a society where you've lost many, if not all, of your freedom? Your ability to live the way you want to live? You want to live in a society you don't recognize? I mean, I was talking to a gentleman, like I said, just today, and he actually in charge of an organization that set up. I said, "You're ahead of the curve, Rick," because they had several town hall meetings, bringing in different candidates for governor and sheriff and all these different folks before the last election, and they had like 500 plus people show up at these things just so people got to know the candidates and what they stood for, which was awesome. And I said, Rick, you're ahead of the curve. He goes, yeah, we're looking at doing more of that, and this show is going to be involved with some of those things, so stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. Get the word out and educate people on, well, we need to know who we're voting for. We need to do some due diligence. We can't just vote and expect everything to work out, right? We've kind of learned that, I hope. A lot of people don't trust the system like they used to. I'm one of them. Okay? I don't think it's as secure as many thought, right? And so we need to pay attention. We need to get involved. What can we do? So, like I said, talk to those around you. It's word of mouth. It's influence. We don't need everybody. There's some hopeless cases out there. I get it. Don't waste your time arguing with somebody that won't want to listen. But if there's an opportunity in a nice way to help influence and discuss things with somebody, do it. Take an opportunity. And, some people are going to do that and share the feelings and stuff like that or with their beliefs. Some people are going to lose their jobs and careers over it. Which is more important? Your ability. If you're working for a company that you don't believe, they have views that are totally opposite to yours. Is that something you want to support and encourage and be a part of? I don't know. Maybe. That's a decision you have to make, of course. I can't tell you what to do. But you need to have you really need to think about it. You really need to think about do you want to continue to support and encourage and be part of something that you fervently don't believe in? I've talked about also as parents, having kids go to schools, whether it's, junior high, high school, college, whatever, and allowing them to be exposed and taught what, in my opinion, is propaganda in many cases, but things that you don't necessarily believe in, and particularly if it's like college that you're paying for as a parent, then allow your kids to be taught something you don't believe in, folks, that's foolish. That's crazy. Why would you do it? I understand the reasons why we've done it in the past, but things are different now. We have to take different actions. We need to wake up and smell the coffee. Stay tuned in the next segment. I'm going to talk about some more things that we can do now and then leading up to the next midterm elections, so don't miss it.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Personal Bank Show. Today we're talking about what can you do if you're not happy with the direction our country's headed, which, by the way, based on polls and everything else I've seen, is the majority, and a significant one at that. Look, the mistake we've made, because I was talking to the gentleman I told you who started this group, then they were doing these town hall meetings last year before the last election, and he was telling me some stuff, but I was like, yeah. I was busy. I was guilty as a lot of people. Not into politics that much. I'm raising my family. I'm doing my business. Living my life, and don't really. But, these last 2 years has really opened up my eyes for sure, as has many people, with all this government overreach and these crazy policies in Afghanistan and everything else that's going on. And I said, look, I'm on board, Rick. Well, how did we get here? That was a question I asked him. And it was really, he was like, complacency. Taking things for granted. He's right. I took much of our freedoms and everything else for granted. No more. What I've come to realize, as many have, is that unless we do our freedoms are under attack. I don't think anyone can argue that point. Again, if a government's going to force you to put a needle in your arm, and even if you don't want to or need it, that's crazy. That's a crazy infringement of your freedom. Our freedoms are under constant and brutal attack, and it's increasing. The ongoing attacks are ongoing and increasing. We either step up, say no more, and fight back, or we lose them. This is one of those use it or lose it kind of things. We have freedom. We either use it or we're going to lose it. I recognize that fact. So a lot of people are saying, what can I do? What can I do? Well, a lot of it depends on where you're at, what you're doing, but certainly you can educate yourself. You can understand, follow the money. Why are things happening the way they're doing? Why are our current leadership, why do they want all these policies and all these things that they're doing? Well, they want control, right? And if they gain more control over more people, they get power, and power means more. They run the show. They benefit tremendously, personally. Okay? There's those that are following this that are bought into the propaganda that, our legacy media has lied to us repeatedly. It's proven, it's documented fact. Okay? And, court records and everything from Russia collusion, which now is even political, left-wing and court documents are admitting that, it was started by Hillary to go after Trump, not the other way around. One of the things I've come to realize is that what I'm finding is a lot of these political attacks, or when somebody on the left is attacking somebody on the right, it's interesting how they're accusing the other person of what they're actually doing themselves. Finding that to be true more often than not. And the Hunter Biden laptop, the information the FBI is now admitting is accurate, is true. And they've known it for before the election, but they sat on it. The amount of corruption and the bureaucracy they want control is becoming overwhelming. That needs to stop. What can we do? Stop listening. Stop buying into the propaganda. Educate yourself. Learn about candidates who support what you believe in. Do some due diligence. Gosh, and again, I'm guilty too. We do much more research on a vacation than on who we vote for, right? That needs to change. Okay? I'm changing that. I'm getting involved in the education process and town halls and all that. That's coming up. Learning about the candidate, not just the president and maybe the governor or senators or whatever, but on down. Who's the sheriffs, the local, the county, the school boards, all the kudos to the parents that are going after the school boards. We got to go through over all levels of government, and you've got to be educated. I think it was Jefferson. I know it was one of the founding fathers, maybe it was Franklin, who said, an uneducated populace is doomed to lose their freedoms. They're right. We have to educate ourselves. We have to do the due diligence, and the information's out there now with the internet, and that's the other part. You got to be careful with that. Social media, what's really accurate? You've got people. What is it? I forget the term, but they're monitoring and they're putting out information that's not accurate and shutting down information that is accurate. Okay, it's propaganda, folks. You have to understand what's true and what's accurate. Educate yourself. Stop listening to the fear mongers, the ones that want to take control and keep doing things for you. Why? Why you want to do something for you? You should be as suspicious of politicians. Actually, we should be more suspicious of politicians than sleazy used car salesmen, folks. Okay? We need to have a very healthy skepticism. There are some good ones out there, don't get me wrong, but we need to develop a very healthy skepticism if somebody wants to run for office. And by the way, maybe you should run for office. And if you do want to do that, contact me at yourpersonalbank.com. Be happy to interview you if your values line up. Stay tuned in the next segment. We're going to talk about some more things we can do to protect our freedoms.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Your Personal Bank Show, where we're talking about what you, as an average American, can do now and in the future to help protect our freedoms. Now, why is this important? Folks, do I even need to explain why this is important? This is a money-focused show. Isn't it obvious? Look, if you have a government who's willing to force vaccine mandates, a government that's willing to force people to stick needles in their arms, whether they want to or need to or not, what else are they willing to do? We also know they want to spend trillions of more dollars over and above what they've already spent. Do you think that's going to create economic devastation for the average American? You ever heard of inflation? Do you think that it's going to cause them to have to raise taxes to a unsustainable level for most people? Do you think that'll have an impact on your economic future for you, your kids, grandkids? Of course it will. We have an overzealous, overactive, bureaucratic government that wants to basically, control every aspect of our lives. Do you think that's going to impact your economic future? You better believe it, in a big way. So it doesn't matter what I talk about in terms of growing your money, accessing your money, creating positive arbitrage, reducing taxes, or anything else for that matter. If we lose our freedoms, none of that is going to matter, folks. This is basic. So if you're not already fired up about it, get fired up just to protect your freedoms, okay? And understand, educate yourself, do some due diligence. Find out who you're actually getting ready to vote for. Know who they are, what they stand for. Do their beliefs line up with yours, or at least for the most part? No one's going to be perfect, I get it. But do they fit most closely to what you believe in? Maybe you should get involved with a candidacy of somebody that you do believe in or support. Donate to them. And more importantly than giving them money, help support them. Go volunteer at their campaign office. How about that? How about working as a poll worker? And then, by the way, this friend of mine, Rick, I was talking about, I'm planning on doing that type of thing myself. In fact, I believe that Election Day is now going to have to be a day off, because I need to get involved. And I want to be, and all of us who love freedom, want to continue to support freedom, need to take that day off and become involved in the election process somehow, in some positive way. We need to protect our freedoms. Take a day off, folks, for your freedom, for your financial future, for your family, for your kids, for your grandkids. I think you can take one day off every couple of years. There's two primary elections. There's an election every 2 years, basically. I think you can take a day off each 2 years to support and defend freedom. Is that asking too much? Anyway, I said I was going to become a poll worker, and I was going to go to like a blue or liberal district. He said, no, actually, they got those wrapped up. You want to be actually in the red, more conservative districts, because that's where they're trying to overturn or change the result. And I'm like, oh, that's very astute. So I'm going to be volunteering and watching and filming, and I'll be either a poll worker or a poll watcher. I don't know yet, but I'm going to get involved. Okay, probably going to get involved with a campaign or two of some folks that I believe in and support on a local and or national level, that I believe that support my beliefs. I'm a fiscal conservative, so there you go. You should do the same. Whether you agree with me or not, you should do the same. We need to get involved. We need to be educated. So these are things that we all can do. And a lot of you folks are listening to me, retired. Folks, you can get involved more than anybody. You've got more time, okay? Many of you listening to this show have lived a good life and have benefited from the freedoms and the blessings that this country has offered throughout your entire lives. And for grandparents and retirees, a lot of times, a lot of what you do is giving back. Folks, I'm asking you, now's the time to step up and support and protect our freedoms and get this big government out of our lives and get taxes reduce those taxes and help us enjoy, those of us that aren't retired, that aren't grandparents yet, and your kids and your grandkids, give us the ability to enjoy the freedoms and blessings that you had throughout your life. That can be your gift to the next generation. I'm asking and begging you to do that. Help us win this fight, because we are in a battle, folks, and it's a war. It's a war of ideas. And we've never been more divided since the Civil War. We have never been attacked. Our personal freedoms have never been attacked probably to this level ever in the history of our country. The direction of our country and the direction of our society ride on this, okay? What are some other things we can do? Like I said, those folks that are involved with town hall meetings. Maybe, and like I was saying earlier, maybe you need to run for office. Maybe you need to run for school board or sheriff or county commissioner or whatever the office is. And like I said, I say in the last statement, if you are planning to do those kinds of things, at least in Arizona, and your beliefs and line up and you're a viable candidate, I'll be happy to put you on the show and encourage, and get you involved at the town hall and get the word out. Okay, we're going to be doing those kind of things as we go forward and move forward on these midterm elections as they come about this next year. We're going to build up on it. Okay, We're going to build up on this what anger and frustration that many of us have about we don't like the way our country and the direction our country is going. We don't like our current leadership, and we don't like the current bureaucracy and what they want to accomplish. We want to change that. And I had a good friend of mine, his name's Sam. He worked with me for a number of years, and he got motivated and fired up about this probably over a decade ago, far ahead of the curve to most of us, right? My friend Rick, like I said, got involved last year, prior to the last year's elections, but ahead of the curve of most people. But he said something to me back then, and I didn't get involved. Looking back on it, I should have. But I didn't believe the threat was anywhere near as significant as we've come to learn it is. I think most of us realize that now. The threat is real. The threat is now. The threat of our freedoms is overarching, massive, okay? But he said so. I said to him, asked him once back then, I said, like I said, it's been over a decade or so ago. I said, nothing seems to ever change. I mean, I'm just one person. What difference does it make? That apathy or that complacency again, right? And he said something. He goes, the American Revolution, the majority of Americans did not support that, which is true. That's a fact. And only about 3% were actively involved, yet look what they accomplished. That's powerful, folks, and that's encouraging. I shared that thought with Rick, my friend who's involved with the town hall meetings and all that. We'll share more about that in the future going forward. But it we don't need everybody. It just takes a few key people to get involved and help steer and guide and help and give advice and direction and motivation to the majority to educate them so they vote in a way that supports their freedoms, continues to support the freedoms that we all enjoy. See, this isn't about conservative or liberal anymore. This isn't about red or blue or if you like Trump or Obama or Biden or anybody or any other politician for that matter. It's way beyond any of that. Folks, this is about the future of our country, and more importantly, the future of the society that you and I live in. Will we have the opportunities that our parents and grandparents and those before us had to grow, build, raise our families, build our businesses, build our careers, live our lives the way we want to live them, a life of freedom, a life of opportunity, where we're blessed with security, safety, all those things that, well, frankly, our country has truly been blessed for a couple of centuries or so. Are we going to continue to enjoy those freedoms and those blessings and to be able to live the kind of lives that most of us recognize and most of us want to live going forward? And are we going to pass that on to the next generation, our kids and our grandkids? Or in this moment in time where we are faced with unprecedented attacks on our freedom on every level, are we just going to stand back, go along with it, oh ho hum, poo-poo it, say, whatever, it's not that big a deal, it's not going to affect me, or what do I care, or any of those things? Which direction are we going to take? What decisions are we going to make? Are there some risks involved? Yes. I stated that in the previous segment. Look, I'm in a relationship business. People come to me because they like what I have to say. They want to learn more. I'm an advisor, I'm in the financial world, right? And it's a relationship-based business. And if somebody takes a dislike to me, it's unlikely they're going to do business with me, which means it costs me potential business. Folks, this is way more important than that. Okay, so what? I lose some business. I lose some potential clients. I would rather be true to myself, true to what I believe in. There's no secret where I stand. All my clients, whether they agree with me or not, and by the way, I have a number that don't. There's a mutual respect, though. I don't try to shove it down their throat. I'll talk to them. I'll try to educate them. I'll do it in a nice way. But I'm not going to apologize for what I believe in or where I stand, because throughout my entire life and based on my life experiences, my dad escaped the Soviets in Hungary for freedom. If I didn't support freedom and try to encourage that, frankly, folks, I would be dishonoring his memory, his legacy. I can't do that. I also served in the military. And part of the reason I served in the military, I served in the U.S. Army, in the White House, in the Old Guard, 3rd U.S. Infantry. And I did it proudly. And folks, I did it because I loved that this country offered the freedom to my dad to come here, to build a life. I appreciated the fact I was born here. I appreciated the fact that I was given the freedoms and the ability to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, to do what I wanted to do, to build something for myself and for my family and for my kids, and continue that legacy that my dad literally risked his life to escape tyranny and oppression, communism, and overzealous government that would take. He wanted to go to college, folks. He was smart. He became an acoustical engineer and was a very intelligent man. But the Soviets wouldn't allow him to go to college. They forced him into the army. And then when the uprising happened in 1956, he decided to desert, as millions of people did, and escape. And I thank God he did. I wouldn't be here probably today if he hadn't done that and risked his life. And you're going to tell me that I'm just going to sit back and watch our freedoms erode when my dad risked his life so that I could to give his legacy a better life. So if this doesn't resonate with you, I'm sorry. But from the depth of my heart, this is how I feel. And I believe there's millions of you out there like me. Let's fight the fight. Let's protect our freedoms for us and our future generations. And as always, stay tuned to the Your Personal Bank Show.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. This show is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information. The presenter and guest on this program do not engage in legal, accounting, or tax advice. Professional advice regarding your situation should be sought if required. Products and riders may have limitations and may not be available in all states. Excessive unpaid loans may affect performance. Distributions may become taxable if not managed properly. Replacements may not be suitable for everyone. There may be charges when replacing coverage. Compare when considering a replacement. Dividend rates and baseline of credit rates may change. Contact yourpersonalbank.com for current rates.